Thank you for taking a look at tennisreporting.com, really the only online tennis scorebook that also handles all the time-consuming paperwork and reports that you need to do as a coach. Really, before you even leave the court, you can have all your paperwork done, submit results to media, and have all the results inputted into the PSRs. Other goals of the program are to allow you to scout upcoming competition, as well as save time at seating meetings and allow the general public to view results. And if you feel you are not good with technology, one good idea is to assign a student manager to do this for you. After registering for the program, the first thing you're really going to want to do is manage your rosters. So if we go into the roster page, there's a lot more information here than you actually need. The only things you are required to put in are a first name, last name, and grade. Those are also the only things that the opposing coaches will view as well. The next thing to do is set up your lineups. So if you go up to the roster and go to lineups, you can set up as many lineups as you need, and once you create those, you can add which players you want into your singles or your doubles. The next thing to show you would be creating a new meet. So if we go up to meets, create meet, we can put in any title we want for that. I'll just put in test for right now. Select the date of that meet and proceed to step 2. Now in here, the first thing I want to do is put in my opposing team. So if I am going against Green Bay East, if you have a multi-invitational, you can put as many opposing teams in there. What that allows is for when you look up the opposing team's rosters, they will be, all the names of the opposing players will be in here as well. Now I can either do two things. I can put in which flight number I want and choose any player from my team, or I can go to my import lineup and import any lineup that I think I want to use for this match. As soon as it imports that in, you'll see that it actually has my players' names as well as their flight numbers already in there. The only things I will have to select would be the opposing players. I can select those opposing players and that will be set up. The one thing about noting on this is that for a meet, you can actually handle this on an iPad or even on a smartphone. So if you happen to have a student manager, they can just be on their smartphone updating the winner status as well as the scores. The other question that we get is, what if an opposing team doesn't have a roster in the system? Well, if I add another team in here that is not in our system currently, we'll see how we can actually modify their roster. So once I refresh the page, you'll see here it must click here to modify their roster. I can click there, add in the first name, last name, and the grade of that player, and that will now be available inside my meets. Now going back to the meet, we'll put in some sample winners and scores. So I'll go into my singles. For the first one, I'll select Bayport as the winner, put in a sample score of 6-0, 6-0, and 6, that's fine, 6-0. And you'll see as that updates, you'll see that Bayport High School, it's doing one match was won by them, and as you update that they'll continually update. Now let's look at a completed meet that we have. So if I go back to my meet and go to view existing meets, you'll see that it showed up on our calendar. If I go up to an existing one that we had and go in here, I can show you how to submit to media. In here you'll see all the results of the match score, 5-2. And when I want to submit to media, at the very bottom there's a button that says submit results to media contact. It's a one click. It'll show you what those results are, how they're going to look, which is in the same format that newspapers would like it in. It'll tell you who the email is being sent to. You can have as many of those as you want. You will click a send, and then that is sent out to your media contacts, as simple as that. The nice thing is that this can all be done by yourself or a student manager on an iPad or a smartphone, or you could take it home later and enter all the results later at any computer. Now that all the results are in the program and you've submitted to media, I can show you how to go to the reports. Once you go into the reports area, there's a few things you can do. First of all, that you might use the most is view your own school. So if I click on that button, it will bring me to all my meets for the entire season. I can also scroll down and look at an individual meet and see what the player reports would show. I can go to that into singles or doubles. The other thing I can do is use this for scouting. So if I wanted to scout an opposing team, I could click on their link. It will then show all their meets for the season, and I could go down to any of their matches and look at individual players as well. The nice thing for this is you can continue to click through the information as much as you want. So if I take an example of one of our players, if you want to look at an individual player, you can click on their name and it'll bring you to their report for their singles as well as their doubles. Now, other way to get to the team specifically, if you look up the state that they're in, as well as start to search for their name, you'll be able to see all the results by clicking on search matches. The other thing would be is if you know a player's name, I can actually just put in their name and do for search for that player. and it will give me the results for that player as well. Now, where this program really saves you the most time is when you have to submit reports for postseason play. So for this individual, I can go down to up to the export the form for that current season, and it will now export that form into what I need to submit. So once it imports those results into the form, you will see it does for singles as well as for their double records. And you can now submit this to the state for the postseason play. We just finished our beta testing this past female season with specific schools, and we are now ready to roll out the official version and are working on our future upgrades, which will include a search feature for teams and players on the homepage for parents and fans. We are really excited about offering this program that will save coaches so much time. If you have any questions, email us at tennisreporting@gmail.com.